I want to go back to something specific that James Petrali said when I had him on here a couple months ago, and he talked about how "Music of My Mind" is a favorite album of his because of, and I hope I get this right, what he said, the value system of the album, how human of an album that is, how joyful and happy. And I'm wondering what your thought is about that, and whether that's a unique thing to that album, or given that the four albums that you worked on with Stevie Wonder, were all done more or less simultaneously. If you feel like that's something, a statement that could be made about all of those albums, that there's a very human and joyful value system that's built into them.
I'm free at last. I'm free at last. Hallelujah. I'm free at last. That was really sort of the attitude that Steve had being freed from his contract at Motown, where a lot of the stuff he recorded in his early, I mean, he'd already done 12 or 13 records by the time he came to us, but they were all done to the Motown formula. He'd go in and record, and then they'd send them away, and they would mix the record and stuff. He was getting some special treatment, but Motown had a formula. Four guys or gals in the background moving in sync, someone up front, and the same rhythm section on every band. The guys in Detroit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Steve was free of that. And also, if you listen to Music by Mind, that's the record where Steve did most of the overdubs. I'd say 90% of the overdubs and the recording is all Steve. So it's very different than recording a band of people playing simultaneously. There's very little of that on Music of My Mind. He was very preoccupied with what we were doing with the synthesizer. And you'll also hear that there are very few instruments on it. That's what makes it sound so personal. It's like the difference between a string quartet and an orchestra, a symphony orchestra, where you have, 20 fiddle players, right? And with the string quartet, you have one fiddle player. The synthesizer is a singular voice. When we first met Steve, he said, Bob, Malcolm, there's something wrong with your synthesizer. What's wrong, Stevie? Well, I can't seem to get more one note out of it. I try playing some chords, and it's not happening. It must be broken. And Malcolm turned to him and said, Steve, the synthesizer's like a saxophone. It only plays one note at a time, one event at a time. It might have 1,000 oscillators and filters and things on it, but it only sounds one voice at a time. So basically, Tonto was six synthesizers, all tied together with tie lines and control voltages and mixers and stuff. And by using four keyboards, we were able, and plus like percussion and stuff, we were able to generate six events at a time max. But with Steve, we would do two, one voice on one keyboard, the other voice on another keyboard. And then Steve would do two voices at a time and do harmonies and stuff and leading tones and stuff. Or we would do stuff in mono. If you listen to that record, you'll see how small it is. It's only a few instruments. The only polyphonic instrument would be like the piano or the Rhodes, the clavinet, something like that, where we laid down for a guide. Is there any click tracks? No, because Steve has the feeling of vibrato, and that's what really separates the men from the boys. Because if you listen to Superstition, for example, you can time 8 bars at the beginning. I know you're going to do it with your stopwatch the minute you get off the line here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you're going to be you'll be timing different choruses in Superstition and verses, and you will see they're all different. There's motion in the music, and the motion is what also builds anticipation and release. And it's subtle, but it's there. And that subtlety, for Steve to be able to do that in a track with no click track and then do a piano version of something, then go in the studio and play drums to it and know where the rubato was, and to be able to live and to slide through it properly is really the great art that he has. Stevie Wonder is an incredible human being. He's not perfect. None of us are perfect. But God came down and put his thumb on his forehead. Something happened. It happened for us and Steve for 3.5 years. And then simply the angels left the building. Needs changed, people changed. It is a business after all as well. We've never had any musical disagreements with Stevie. Where our agreements were business. That's really what sort of ended the relationship, not the music. I'm friends with Steve to this day, you know. We all see things our own way. He has a way of, understanding his POV. I have mine. But that doesn't preclude our friendship either. But sometimes it's there, and the angels are with you, and sometimes it isn't.